Sanza kubumbana insimbi yesithupha ngone lomuhle yankuvusele ngikwamukele ehlelweni Kusile breakfast show nalomhla eksenti insuku tisithupha inyanga yendlovu lenkhulu mnyaka ke wa 2024 ngabe maswati yavuka kanjani lomuhla siyakwethulela ke ihlelo lwakho lolithanza Kusile breakfast show nalomuhla tawuthi magamanca insimbi yesithupha sichumane nalabachamuka emanzini environmental health region kutawuta ke celiwe Mkhonda who is the acting environmental health officer khona kamanzini manje lihlelo ke labalichubako lelibitwa ngema wash trainings on overcrowded manzini and Matsapa corridors kuqinisekisa nje kuhlandeka sifuna kuba ukuthi luhlelo luhamba kanjani tinjani vele tindzaba tekuhlandeka kulawo ma corridor akumanzini nakumatsapa umcokwa lomsebenzi lona kungathi ke kunetifo nanadokele kuvakala ukuthi ti exacerbatewa ngiko kungahlandeki sikile sabona bo cholera etinyangeni letendlulile letimbalwa betempilo ke bagcizelele ukuthi sifo lesi ngathi nje nasikuphethe ungashiya emhlabeni nawe nje emthoyi kabili kathathu so yashiya emhlabeni so kungako ke kuthiwa atigcizelelwe tekuhlandeka tiqiniswe kanti ke sitawuphinze sichumane na make Joyce Gama lo ngumabhalane welibutho letelithango makugabanca insimbi yesikhombisa kwadisa ukuthi sevele kunjalo kulempela sonto buganu bakhe ehlane the Hlane edition of Buganu ceremony will be taking place over the weekend. A lot of excitement over this edition amaswati lamanengi sevele aveta yona injabulo ekuthenini ayakubo buganu bakhe sifuna kuva ke kuthi engabe timiso nje letikhona kuphepha iregistration konke lokufuna ukuthi sive sikwadi sisaya kubo buganu ceremony kule phela sonto lesiya kuyo yini kunendzaba ke lenye lesifuna nje kuyitsinza ingcingwana lekhona yekufundzisa ngemvunulo ya lo luthango kungathi ke sekunekukhathateka ekuthenini sekunebantu labangagcozisisa ekuthenini kufuna bavunule njani kunebungoti bako nje nanako siyafuna ukuthi siswati sithi kuyavunuliswana sivunulisane nakulolo hlangothi naye make Joyce Gama 7:30 am this Wednesday morning ungayenza kulesikhathi sanyalo asibuke emaphephandaba elive ihloko lethamba embili. Sitaqala ngehloko lethamba embili ephephandabeni Times of Eswatini. Making the leading story there, MPs ask Minister Prince Simelane, lead us to King to report CJ. CJ has been accused of being low unto himself, defeating the ends of justice in Master's Office probe. Another one says remove judiciary from Ministry of Justice and name it Ministry of Judiciary. Ngekusho-ke kwamalunga eParliament. Lelinye ke lelunga leParliament lisithe enhleli niyambukela because ngathi niyamesaba uyini ungubhova yini yena ukuthi angeke atsinve. Full story is found on page 2 of the Times of Eswatini of the Wednesday edition. Eswatini man has been kidnapped and shot dead in South Africa is another story making the headlines. Times of Eswatini. Ganzelenye indzaba ithi there's been another electricity increase. On another story, there's a call to grant both 8-bet and e-bet licenses. Ganzike indzaba yekugcina le solo nje indzaba mlonyeni kusukela ibikini eliphelile. According to the state, 4 cell phones are suspected to be linked with, or rather to the AKA murder. Letithombeke majaha la ngebasolwa siyabonga Gezani Ndimande Nxele namelusi Dave Ndimande MJ inside the dock during their appearance for a remand at the Manzini Magistrates Court elangeni laitolo. There was tight security provided by His Majesty's Correctional Services Rapid Response Unit as seen. Kunasisithombe lesiseceleni kwala majaha lamabili. Sibuka ke temidlalo Times of Eswatini, the leading story there, Sihlangu's poor run. We are letting King down according to Lilunga leParliamente. Welcome. Babana East MP advocates for vetting of international players. during a recent session with the Parliament Sports Portfolio Committee. On another one, there's thrills and excitement in schools athletics. Kunatitfombele tikhona tanabanvana Ngwenya Primary School athletes joined by their teachers as they celebrate being the champions of the Eswatini School Sports Association Babane Branch Athletics Competition, which was held at the Prince of Wales Sports Ground esukwini la Itolo. Kuphindza-ke kubona letinye tikolo letifaka ekhatsi Mqolo Central Primary neQedusizi Primary kanye neSt Mark's Primary kuletitfombe. Another story speaks to league games. Hunger looms. And Zabeni MTN Premier League, it might take a long break to make way for Ingwenyama Cup and the national team. Sihlangu two-legged matches against Somalia. Alonso Bayern in talks. That's a story coming from the international front. Eswatini Daily News Lomhla Ekseni making the leading story. Inzaba Lenkulu, Taiwan Eswatini capital markets forge new path in cooperation. And Inzaba Eswatini tops in Netbank client net promoter score. Prime Minister applauds progress at ICC Fish are the multi-billion project. Prime Minister Russell Dlamini has applauded the progress being made on some national projects. These include properties owned by Public Service Pension Fund, popularly known as PSPF, the International Convention Center and Five-Star Hotel, EICC Fish, and the Rail Science and Technology Park, RSTP. Together, the purpose of the tour was to touch base with some of the ongoing projects in the country, which have been allocated a completion date to benefit the country and grow the economy. The Eswatini Daily News, the leading story, Ingwenyama Cup semi-finals, Sifuna Yonke, traditional arch rivals Mbabane Highlanders and Swallows file a new Ingwenyama Cup semi-final double-header proposal. The two sides united in having a single header. On another one, Flamingo elevated to TD position. Kanzi-ke kuleqhamuka ngephandle UEFA Champions League reveals new format for the 2024-2025 edition of the UEFA Champions League. Those are the leading headlines kumaphephandaba elive lomhla ekuseni. Sitawuba hlula emakethe sibuye sibukele indzaba tesiswati. Mizuzu le mfica kubumbene insimbi yesithupha kulesikhathi sitawethabela indzaba tesiswati. Liphini Nkulu umhlonishwa Kusile Dladla lithulumende uyawuthumisa umsebenzi lowentiwa tindzawo letigcina abantwana bendlunkulu kunakekelane kugcina labantwana. Liphini Nkulu lithi lihhovisi selitawukhona kubika ngento leliyibonile ikakhulu lapho kunesidzingo setimotolo letawukhona kumikisa tisebenti talelihhovisi letiyawuhlola tigameko tekuhlukubetana kwebantwana. Liphini Nkulu belikhuluma ngesikhathi livakashele tindzawo letigcina abantwana bendlunkulu nalabo labahlukubetekile.
Liphini landvunankulu umhlonishwa Thuli Dladla lithi litatisekela tindzawo letigcina bantfwana labangenabani nebantfwana ke bendlunkulu ikakhulu ngetimpepha tebuve kanye-ke naletinye tintfo labatidzingako. Liphini landvunankulu libonga alikhawuli ngalomsebenti letindzawo letiwentako.
Ngicale project Canaan, a huge project lengitsite mangihleli ngedwa ngathi uma bangahamba labantu sidayithini lendzawo. Ngiyathandaza uNkulunkulu ukuthi bangase bacabange kuhamba. Bathatha abantwana between 0 and 2 years. As we speak, bang 409. And kunetinswane letilapha etinabo 1 month, bo 2 months, bo 3 months. But ngendlela lekusetshenziswa ngayo bantwana sebasesikoleni nyalo sebana grade 7. Bantwana bayetikoleni banyeni labadzinga special care. Sase siyasuka lapho sesiya kulelinye ikhaya. Lelikhaya leli ke lona lithatha labantwana labahlukumetekile, the girl child. Ukhanze ukuthi ugiriswa tika nje umntwana ngibaba wakhe adalwa. Esikhatsini esinye labantwana bafike bajikijelwa. Ukhanze ukuthi ngiyadethwala lo mntwana akasanginaki. Ndathi umntwana uma sengumbeleka ngimthathe ngumjikijelele ekhaya kubo. Noma ngumjikijele kuyise. Ukuthi lise ingaze ngatholela umfati ke la. Amncane lo mntwana. Some of the kids nitingqondo zabo seklime. Sesibonile ukuthi kudzingeka ini. Uyabona letinye tindzawo ukhanza ukuthi vele bayitfola le funding from outside. Kepha lena initiative yemaswati. Sidzinga ukuthi siyisupport ingawi.
Loyo wake waba liphini landvunankulu wekucala wesifazane lapha eveni Constance Simelane longiyena abasobhe lelikhaya uthi-ke badzinga lusito lwekudla nalokunye.
La ngazondle boys home kuhlala abantwana labang-13 kodwa sine capacity yokuthatha 25 webantwana. Njengoba ngeke ngaveta nje kuphini landvunankulu ukuthi kunetinkinga tetifikete esikolweni zebantwana. Cha wekunene ke vele wathi nkwe utasisita kuloko. Nalokuthi ke futhi mhlawumbe sinema challenges somehow ekudleni kwebantwana. Waphindze wathi nkwe make DPM wathi utasisita kuloko.
Liphini landvunankulu ligcizelele kakhulu indzaba yokuthi sive asikubike kuhlukubeteka noma ke sikubona ngekushayela inombolo yamahala lethi 116 etindzabeni kubika Sondomlangeni elwandle.
Indvuna yelitiko letemtsetfo nemtsetfosisekelo umhlonishwa umvanenkosi Simelane uthi kusebenta kwetinkantolo kutimele ngako akuvumelekile ukuthi atfolakale sekatifaka etindzabeni letiphatselene naletinkantolo. Indvuna ithi endzabeni yekucasha kwemnyango wekucondzisa timilo yintfo langayati ukuthi ingahle yenteke nini. Indvuna beyikhuluma eParliamentary ngesikhatsi emalunga elikomiti lendlu yabayisikhulu labuke kusebenta kwaleli tiko layo. Ahlaba indvuna ngemibuto uma yetfula umbiko wekusebenta kwaleli tiko wemnyaka timali wa 2023-2024 eParliamentary.
Emalunga elikomiti lelibuke kusebenta kwelitiko letemtsetfo nemtsetfo sisekelo endlu yabayesikhulu endlulise kukhathateka lokukhulu mayelana nekusebenta kwetinkantolo lapha eveni ngesikhathi ke indvuna yelitiko letemtsetfo nemtsetfo sisekelo umhlonishwa umfanenkosi Simelane etfula umbiko wekusebenta welitiko wemnyaka wa 2023-2024.
Uthi unawo inamandla ekudila ne-judicial. Nangabe ede sitowendana la. Because phela i-judicial ngawe uyayikhipha uyibeka lapha. Itisebentele ke itipasisene yende njengoba yenda la eveni. Ngushiso yini ke minister? Uvakele minister lehlangana. Wathi lokhu bakwendini. Lo angati lutho. Even today you compare to that. Awati lutho. But you are having the minutes. Why are we here? Why today are you asking us to pass that budget for that ministry? Recently, in Judicial. But as we speak, tipagile. Timele ukuthi umntwana aphume esikolweni. Timthathe tombeke ekhaya. Tipile tiyopaka werep. Ngubani lo controller letimoto le Ministry of Judicial. Uma ngayetha kanjani.
Cela sibambise intiko bahlonishwa Kahle siyabona kuhambe kahle kuleli akuhambi kahle ngeke sigeke lo.
Indvuna yaleli tiko umhlonishwa umfanenkosi Simelane seyethfula imphendvulo iceleke emalunga ePhalamende ukuthi leli tiko alibambise kakhulu njengoba letinye tintfo tingetulu kwemandla ayo indvuna yaleli tiko.
Indzaba yetinkantolo nendzaba kumbe namaster ngoba kunye cha nami solo ngabamba lentfulo ngive emaphepheni kwekuthi kuthi ngisho munye la vene even na minister nje bamba nofanele abangenangena phathaphathe nje tinkulunyanyanyana ku-independent kwale ngethemba siyakwati sonke lokho manje sikukhona umuzi esingake sibe nawo hayi nami ngajabula sesike sishungane sonke sesiyofuna le mphendvulo nami ngiyakufuna imphendvulo ukuthi cha bahlonishwa sithembenine.
Lenye indzaba emalunga ePhalamende layivetile indzaba yekutfumisa wona umnyango wecondzisa timilo mayelana nemsebenti lomuhle labawendile ikakhulu ukugcina kuthula lapha eveni. Etindzabeni kubika Sondomlangeni ngisePhalamende.
Hulumende sewuyisukumele etulu indzaba yetinkinga letibanga kungasebenzi kahle kwenyuvesi yakuleli. Lokhu kushiwo indvuna yelitiko letemfundvo umhlonishwa owenqumalo nakaphendvula emalunga elikomiti lendlaba yesikhulu lelibukeke kusebenta kwelitiko letemfundvo. Indvuna bayicela lelikomiti ukuthi liphasise emaphakelo alelitiko lapho yetfule khona nembiko wekuphela kweminyaka wekusebenta kwelitiko layo.
Indvuna yetemfundo umhlonishwa owenqumalo ucele ikomiti lelibuke kusebenta kwelitiko letemfundo endlini yabayesikhulu ukuthi liphasise emaphakelo timali lalinganiselwa ku4 billion 138 million emalangeni kude lelitiko litokhona kuchuba kahle imisebenzi yalo lefaka ekhatsi kuqinisekisa kuchubeka kahle kwelihlelo lemfundo lephansi kucashwa kobothishela ukuthi babe disebenti tembuso letiphelele labo labe basebenta ngetimvume tesikhashana kanye nekuqinisekisa ukuthi sive sithola kuceceshwa ngetemakhono kude ukuthi sitokhona kudakhela imisebenti siphindze sicasheke nasetinkampaneni letidzinga betemakhono. Emalunga lahloniphekile lelikomiti abe sathola lithuba lekudzingidza lombiko welitiko letemfundo.
Leli gama lithi free lingenda ngitibude kuthi ngabe i-free primary noma i-free stationary.
These institutions, ikakhulu inyuvesi, they are given subventions by the government. Ingabe vele the subventions are figure to what level? Kusita these institutions.
Letikolo lenithi nekufundza khona tiphindze tinokwe ngibani titawunakwa tinkhundla na.
Benginembono ukuthi kuya ngami njengelilunga lasemathanjeni ngabe vele le free education seyafakwa nala high school.
Ngenxa yesikhathi indvuna ibese seyiphendula imibuto lembalwa lebeyibutwe ngawo emalunga yabese seyethembisa ukuthi timphendvulo letiphelele itawudiletha ngalokubhalwe phansi.
Mhlonishwa chairperson sesikhona sigejane sesisakhile lesitawuhamba se-university siyowenda i-assessment lokushoko lokutawubuketa tonke letinkinga lababhekene nato batabe sebasitfulele ama-findings ngalesibili nje cabinet labe ngithula ama-terms of reference ngilithula nalibandla letintshontshofu lelitawuvele liye khona lapha e-uniswa naleti ndzaba tema-delayed allowances siyayikhuluma nemlingano wami leyo problem leyo singayisotha kanjani.
Etindzabeni te-Eswatini TV ngumbongwa Dube kalobamba.
Kusweleka kwemali ngiko lokuvimba litiko letekulima kutsi lenabise kahle tonke tinhlelo tekuniketa lusito lwetekulima esiveni. Lokhu kushiwo indvuna yelitiko letekulima umhlonishwa Mandla Chauka uma acela likomiti lelibuke kusebenta kwelitiko letekulima endlini yabayesikhulu. Umhlonishwa Mandla Chauka bekatfola umbiko welitiko letekulima wa 2023-2024 lapho aphindze wacela khona lelikomiti kutsi liphasise emaphakelo alelitiko linganiselwa ku5.3% wemaphakelo kahulumende.
Indvuna yelitiko letekulima umhlonishwa Mandla Chauka yethule inkulumo yayo lebeyendvulela kudzingidwa kwembiko wekusebenta kwelitiko layo kude kutophasiswa emaphakelo alelitiko eminyaka wa 2024-2025. Indvuna iphawule ukuthi tinhlelo letisukunyiswe ngaphansi kwalelitiko tidzinga kusetshenziswa ngesivinini sankwe kude kutoqinisekiseka ukuthi live liba nekudla lokwanele kuphindze kwakheke emathuba emisebenzi lamanyenti eluhlangothini lwetekulima.
For this phase, which is the actual construction of the dam and resettlements, an amount of 659,809,000 is allocated. LUCIP 2 is at irrigation infrastructure development stage. An amount of 417,324,000 has been allocated to complete the work so that Eswatini can enjoy the benefits from this initiative. Other capital projects, Mr. Chairman, account for the balance of 101,981,000 allocated to the ministry.
Malunga elikomiti lelibuke kusebenta kwelitiko letekulima endlini yabayesikhulu awudzingidze kanjena lo mbiko.
Le subsidy ingakwenda lokho ukuthi bakhuthathe ukuthi bangene kuyo. Ngoba ngaphakathi itiko liyayibukela nje ngetigaba ukuthi ingentiwa njani ukuze abantu babe motivated ukuthi balime.
Siyethemba minister kule budget loyilethile ikhona isubsidy ukuthi nangabe le dipping chemical seyiphelile uyicelele ukuthi iyawuthengwa ngemali engaka. Lama contract leni wanikako akhe lamadamu anilanzeleli bayadoja kakhulu. Lamadamu lamasha ehlulwa ngangale siwakhazito.
Yabona nasingasebenta leyo check mina basungakhulu ngambe nekhaya langathola ukuthi sincoba nini.
Nasisahlanganisa lo mbiko lelikomiti belisachubeka nekudzingidza lamaphakelo elitiko letekulima kanti nendvuna beyisengakaphenduli. Etindzabeni te-Eswatini TV kubika Mbonga Dube galobamba.
Indvuna yelitiko letemfundvo nekucecesha umhlonishwa owenqumalo ekhutha sento sabothishela nhloko sekucosha abantwana labagweleta imali yesikolo etikolweni. Indvuna yethi lesento sinemthelela lomubi empilweni yemntfwana ngoba abatali labenta tivumelwano netikolo ukuthi batobhadala kanjani hayi bantfwana. Indvuna ikusho lokho emhlanganweni nebetindzaba obewubanjelwe emahhovisini elitiko letemfundvo.
Sekuvakele ukuthi etikolweni bothishela bayachubeka babacosha bantwana etikolweni ngokuthi kude imali lekuthiwa ngema-top up fees abakhona ukuthi khipha. Silitiko ke lokho kusiphatha kabi phinde futhi kusiphathe kabi siyi-cabinet lokho lokwenteka etikolweni. Sisathandza kusho kubatshela bothishela ukuthi abayiyekele lento labayentako lokucosha labantwana etikolweni. Siyati lokuthi umntfwana kaya esikolweni sivumelwana siba semkhatsini wabo head teacher kanye nebatali. Umntfwana ke akangeni nangabe eti-school fees atikabhadali. Umntfwana unelungelo ukuthi akaye esikolweni afunze angakhoni kudisturbeka. I-constitution yelive ngiyo leyenda ukuthi etikolweni letincane akungabhadalwa. Neparlamente yawushaya lowo mthetho. Kephana ke kusifisa buhlungu ngekuthi bothishela bayawuphula loyo mthetho loyo. Nelitiko lakhipha nabo sekhula ukuthi lokho bothishela abangakwendi. Kepha bothishela solo bayachubeka bayakwenda lokho baphule umthetho welive. Kunesikhwama ke lesikhona semhlonishwa DPM lapho khona kunebantfwana labafundziswa nguhulumende. Nakhona ke siyajabha ukuthi labo bantfwana labo bacoshiwe. Labantfwana lawo bafunwa ema-deposit bangakangeni emaklasini. Kepha uhulumende abayikhiphile le mali. Kubuhlungu ke lokho Maswati ukuthi nako lokho kwentiwa ngibo bothishela. Lokhu ke vele sesithatha tinyathelo tisebenti ke telitiko bo inspector nabo REO bathatha isonzelele letikolo leto labo thishela bakhulunyiswe bachaze ukuthi lo labakwentako bawenta ngamuphi umthetho bawenta ngamaphi emagunya. Siyathandza ke kulilela nomndeni wakashongwe kulolo kwendekile kungathi lo mfana angalala ngokuthula siyabakhutha nje ngaloko lokwentekile.
Bashushisi belive la-7 laseNingizimu Afrika solo abakasifaki isicelo sokuthi basolwa lababili ecaleni lekubulawa kwemhlabeleli wetingoma te-hip hop lewatiwa ngela Keenan Forbes lodume ngela AKA kuthi-ke bathathwe kuleli bahambe bayawubhekana nemacala abo khona eveni laseNingizimu Afrika. Ngaleso sizathu lomelele umbuso kuleli macebo onxumalo ucele ukuthi leli cala liqhutshelwe embili kumhlati 12 kule nyanga lesetulu. Labasolwa nguSiyabonga Gezani Ndimande kanye namalusi Dave Ndimande.
Abasolwa baboshwe enkwaleni kumaholala ezeni4 nathi nge-24 kule nyanga lephelile bavela kwecala enkantolo kaMantshi kaManzini nathi nge-26 kuyinyanga lephelile. Labasolwa lababili belive laseNingizimu Afrika bebakade bafunwa kanye naLindokuhle Mhlaliseni Ndimande. Lindokuhle ugcine sekaboshwa khona eveni laseNingizimu Afrika. Kungaleso sizathu livovisi lebashushisi kuleli elimelele ngumacebo onxumalo libese licela enkantolo ukuthi isicelo selive laseNingizimu Afrika sekubopha Lindokuhle ukuthi sale sisuswa. Nxumalo uphinze ucela enkantolo ukuthi ifani ivume ukuthi icingo letine letiyatfolakala kulabasolwa mababoshwa tendlulisele kubaseshi belive laseNingizimu Afrika.
Once the documents the formal documents for extradition has been received, the Director of Public Prosecution in Swaziland will make a substantive application for the extradition of the respondents back to their country. That way, found in the position of the respondent, they can be submitted to the requesting state even before the extradition application has been finalized. So we'll be making submission on that.
Ummeli basolwa sive sonke Ngwenya akakaba nenkinga necubelo embili kwaleli cala. Ngwenya uvete kungahambisani nesicelo sembuso sekuthi kutfule enkantolo ubufakazi lokufungelwe beliphoyisa leliphenya lendzaba lapho khona umbuso ucela kugcina tincingo letine letatfolwa nakuboshwa babekwa cala.
Therefore, my Lord, as we are all aware that this is a sensitive matter, it would be risky for us to proceed and without having touched base or liaised or even seen the face of the affidavit, my Lord. In that event, my Lord, my humbly make an application that the issue of the detention be deferred to the next remand, which is the 12th day of March 2024. I am of the firm belief that there will be no prejudice that will be suffered by the Crown for this postponement, my Lord, on this aspect and the issue of the exhibits, my Lord.
Leyindzaba levelile enkantolo ngileya mfana Nkosi Magagula wasemliba lofuneka eveni laseNingizimu Afrika kuthe utiphendulela ngelicala lekubulala kwetama kwebulala kanye nelokuhlulekisa kusebenta kwemthetfo defeating the ends of justice. Lamacala kuthiwa wente eCuban Lodge kanyamazane khona eveni laseNingizimu Afrika ekucala wagwaza ngemkhoa wabulala Sandile Mathebula wetama kubulala Goodness Ngomane kumgwaza. Lesithathu ukuthi wabaleka eveni laseNingizimu Afrika weta kuleli ngemva kwekwenta lokucala naye licala lakhe liqhutshulwe nathi 11 kule nyanga lesetulu kanti umelelwe ngummeli sive sonke Ngwenya etindzabeni kubika Fortune Dlangamandla ngisenkantolo kaMantshi kaManzini.
Indvuna yetemidlalo umhlonishwa Bonganzima ethi litiko layo lisebenzise imali elinganiselwa ku-150,000 emalangeni kubonga abadlali bemidlalo leyahlukahlukene labamelela live kahle emidlalweni yemhlaba eminyakeni lophelile. Indvuna ikuvete lokhu ngesikhathi ivele embi kwelikomiti lelibuke kusebenta kwelitiko layo endlini yabayesikhulu.
Indvuna yetemidlalo umhlonishwa Bonganzima ngamsombuluko yetfula umbiko wekusebenta kwaleli tiko yeminyaka 2023-2024 embi kwelikomiti lelibuka kusebenta kwaleli tiko endlini yabayesikhulu. Indvuna ivetile ukuthi sekunemali 155,000 emalangeni liyanikwa abadlali labachamuka etinhlanganweni letine lokuyindlela yekubabonga ukuthi bamelela live kahle emidlalweni yangaphandle lapho khona babuye ekhaya netimendlela. Badlali abachamuka enhlanganweni yemidlalo yokubhukusha leyabuye ekhaya netimendlela eti-11 teligolide, leti-6 tesiliva kanye naletintsatfu telithusi. badlali bema-Special Olympics lababuya nemendlela yinye lithusi. Babili bemidlalo wemadarts lababuya netimendlela letimbili tesiliva kanye netimendlela letisihlanu letabuya enhlanganweni yemidlalo ye-taekwondo. Indvuna ichubekile yavetela lelikomiti kutsi leminye imisebenti lemihle leyentiwe ngilelitiko ifake ekhatsi kubamba umsebenti wema-Regional Sports Awards kanye nemsebenti we-National Disability Sports Day. Indvuna iphetse ngekuveta kutsi nakuphela umnyaka wa-2023 lelitiko bese licedzile kulungiswa kwesigaba sesithathu senkundla yesive kasomhlolo lesabita imali lengu-15 million emalangeni. Indzaba ye-Sports Police lebuka indlela temidlalo letingagcina tikhonile kutiphilisa ngayo nayo ivelile kulombiko. Lobikela umsakato Eswatini TV temidlalo ngoLinda Dlamini kanti umbiko uhlanganiswa nguFabrice Msonera eMbabane.
Tingako tindzaba teSwati sitawuba hlola imakethe sitawubuya sichubeka nehlelo.
Renewal of TV licenses for 2024 is now open. Here is a quick reminder. A viewer's TV license costs 180 emalangeni per device. Other accessories such as decoders and set-top box cost 50 emalangeni per device. For traders and repairers, TV license costs 300 emalangeni per business area. And now, to pay your TV license, use these following methods. You can use MTN Mobile Money with the number 76222000 or dial *007 *3 *7#, or you can use Eswatini Imali. And you can pay our TV license at any post office in the country. Another option is you can use any NetBank branch using our TV license account number 119900430037. Don't forget, when paying for your viewer's TV license, reference with your PIN at all times. And when paying for a retailer TV license, reference with your TIN at all times. For more information, call us on 7802-4543 or 34050163 or 34020879. And you can send us a WhatsApp message on 762222000.
Be sure to catch Business Watch every Wednesday between 2 p.m. to 3 p.m. where we feature the latest updates on business news, market trends, and exclusive interviews with industry leaders, as well as insights on emerging small and medium enterprises in the commercial sector. Business Watch, your business leader.
Siphinde sikwamukele ehlelweni kwalomuhle sitawuxoxisana naCeliwe Mkhonda, who is the acting environmental health officer kaManzini. Banemsebenzi ke labawuchubako lomcwa kakhulu umsebenzi ke wema-wash trainings overcrowded Matsapa and Manzini corridors kunetinzawo nje labati hambela kokuqinisekisa de kuhlandeka. Celiwe, welcome to the program. It's not the first time siva ngale program lena. Imisebenzi icishe seminingi lenentile kuqinisekisa de kuhlandeka. Maybe before singene nje kulo ngiyafuna lokuva ukuthi nisawuqala lo msebenzi lona, you should at least see the results of the previous programs that you've had. Yes, we may not quantify in terms of numbers, but the level ekuhlandeka nje niyibone kungathi vele seyikhulile vele.
Ngiyabonga Sifiso. Kusho ukuthi nje ngingathi ngalokuthi besend assessment. Yes, because nje lo kwaluseni causes bese concentrate kulo kwaluseni, but nje sibuka lama overcrowded areas. So what we're doing ema assessment just to find out how is the situation. Lokusho ukuthi ke nyalo sitawukhona kubona kule activity lesesiyenda nyalo because sesiyaba trainer basing on the problems that we've found from the assessment. Yeah, so I think after the training then I can comment.
Asingena kuyo ke le training, maybe the first question would be why, but usangena kuloyo why ngiyafuna loyo ukuthi uchazele kahle umbukeli nasikhuluma ngawash lo water and sanitation training project elenisokumisako yini vele and why are you doing it?
Yes, okay, maybe nje just for you that it should be easy. Maybe asibuke nje lo wash. Yeah, siqale ngalo W. W talks about water. So we're encouraging ukuthi kube na safe water. Yes, but kule assessment yethu nje maybe I can point out ukuthi eMandi kulendzawo ikhona le challenge. One of the site ngule piping at least ba safe, but on the other side basebenzisa eMandi vele which are not safe. So ke le kusho ukuthi le activity yethu for training we are trying to promote that. Kulabo labete lamantu la safe kunalendlela lesikhuluma ngayo ukutreata sisebenzisa ijiki siyaboila. That is the first W. Then the second one sesidake lo sanitation. When you talk of law S, we're talking of sanitary facilities, short toilets. Yes, but if now ubuka le area ya yaseKwaluseni ngoba vele kulama overcrowded areas. Sina nje sifiso sethu ngilokuthi in future kugcina vele kusetshenziswa lama flushing toilets, yes, but ke nalaba pit latrines, yes, so sibafundzisa ngako, especially with how do you do it. Yes, how do you make it to be a proper one up to the standard. Then the last one which is hygiene, the H. So the hygiene basically hygiene is very broad. Yeah, sikhulumisa nje kuhlanzeka in Siswati. Hygiene ifaka nabo hand washing, kuwashwa kwetandla, kuba clean kwelikhaya, tibi siticitha kahle ekhaya ku clean, so nguye ke lo wash lesikhuluma ngayo.
I'm aware ukuthi le assessment nani icala, it was around July last year, which has, I think, given you enough time to do a proper assessment leading up to the trainings that are officially starting on which day exactly, or they've already started?
Yes, we've started last weekend.
I want us to get into the findings. I believe they are very instrumental and they are very key. Training, the findings of the assessment in terms of total houses that were visited and perhaps total number of people living kulama homesteads. I think that nombolo leto tiniketa sithombe lesikahle ngokuthi kufuna lo msebenzi wende kanjani.
Yes, yeah. No, I think the assessment it really helps, a lot. Yeah, we were able to come up and also have a picture of what is happening on overcrowded areas. So we were able to visit 242 homesteads.
Right.
Yes, but you must know there's a difference between homestead and household.
Yeah.
So if you are talking about homestead, we know to gula, ngiyapuma, akunanzaba baneng, to another place that is number 2. So we're able to move to 242 homesteads.
That's a lot.
Yeah, it's a lot. Then on the 242 homestead, now we're counting, this is the first one, the second one. In each, when we are adding all those people, there are around 3,807. Yes, so you could see that there's issues of overcrowding. Yes. Then we're able to kusho mastandi tenants. Let's there are around 700 and something, 7-8, if I'm not mistaken. But what we have logu more key kulama issues akawash lesikutholile lokonto nje ukuthi ayinovel let us do it. Let us start the trainings as soon as possible. I hope you remember, Sfiso, that we also had the case, the Corella case.
Yes.
Fine, it was not from Swaziland in Manzini. But even then, the fact that it was discovered on the overcrowded areas. So that's why we are saying, no, let us stand up and then do the trainings to try to minimize any spread lesingandeka. And siyathi ukuthi bo Zimbabwe kuyakhulunywa ngabo bo South Africa vele lama diarrheal cases la in most cases kungile Corella akhona kakhulu. So ke lesikutholile ke ngiloko ukuthi those who have good sanitary facilities Yes, bangu 91.
Okay.
So what we have discovered is kulo 91 baphinze futhi babe ne proper waste management. Shows lo 91 once vele waba nayo
So
lama 12 laka.
that's 91 out of 242.
Yes, ngilaba now.
Sheesh.
So you can imagine. Yes.
Yeah.
Then again, bese ke 82 wabo. Yeah, they don't have proper sanitation. If you are saying proper, we mean ukuthi yena he have the structure.
Okay.
Like maybe good Devon pipe because kunalama standards la khona. Mhlambe good Devon pipe, good ema seats. So that's why we are saying no proper yes sanitation. Then ke laba labet at all. So you could see it's a quite number because there are 69. So now if you are adding the 69 with the 82, it's 151.
Okay, so 69 bed into the toilets at all.
Yes, at all.
And then 82 it's improper.
Sometimes you can't put the structure,
police, yeah.
Yes. So but nje vele uyabona lokuthi even if they have vele still it's a problem.
Yeah.
Yes, so ngiko ke lokusenda lokuthi no, let us stand up as environmental health in Manzini, and then we try and do the trainings. Yeah.
And then ngiyabona lo ukuthi man let nombolo now disho labantu there are I think 130 less of kuthi babe ngu-4,000 and bahambela around 3,870.
Yes.
Abantu labaningi kakhulu. Now break her down the improper sanitation, improper solid state facilities. It is a cause for concern, Bahamba, and you know it really does validate the urgency and the importance of the program, Lena. How will you then address it? Ndawo hamba ngalaba tenants, nalama landlord ngoba lo munye vele uhlala ku landlord.
Yeah.
How are you going to address it?
Okay, the plan is because we've already started. So we started on a weekend. So what is the strategy that we are using? So we just pick the landlord should come with 2 tenants.
Okay.
Yes, yeah. Each landlord come with 2 tenants, and then lama community leaders onke ke vele sicela lokutha bekhona.
Okay.
So lapha ngoba sicale kwaLuseni
Right.
kuma zones. So this weekend we're focusing on zone D. Yes, whereby kulama structures lengiwashoko kusho ukuthi kunebanakekeli kunebagcu, but I've discovered that there is a problem with bagcu abekho kahle. Yes, kune community leader sekunaleli committee lenkundla.
Of course.
Yes, emaphoyisa emanga. So those community leaders vele were emphasizing ukuthi they should come. Maybe on that note, Mr. Spifiso is just to ask, maybe sicele again to lo zone D. Attendance kulama landlords was not well represented. So siyacela kakhulu ukuthi nyalo because we are moving to other zones, but lo bucopho usebenta nabo naleli committee lenkundla, so they know batawuza babathinta. So siyacela ukuthi zone D aphinze bede lama landlords kulomhlangano lomnye utaba khona for lalamanye ama zones. So siyacela kakhulu.
You said you ask every tenant, let's say at least, I mean, every landlord to bring at least 2 tenants.
Yes, but the landlords vele swafuna
Okay, yeah.
Yes, maybe just to add on that one, kuma landlords siyacela lokuthi bangacabange ukuthi maybe sitolwa nabo. Yes, it's the matter of discussa. Sisitane. In fact, our department, the environmental health department, is for just to improve lama environmental health issues. It's not fighting people. So we sit down and then sibone ukuthi senda kanjani.
Yeah, ngiyabona lo ukuthi le ndoda angacabanga ukuthi hey dakuncoshela imarket lo kanti empeleni iqiniso lithi kuyamsida abantu batawufuna ku rent enzaweni lehlandekile.
Because lokunye ukhanze sinale issue yakhe encane nje issue le sitam guide ngoba lapha siyafundisa.
But it could have a big impact kulabo cholera nje like you're saying. Cholera is very deadly. Kulama ongoing training ni focusa kwenda in kahle are you toilet constructions kuningi lengakwenda from the problems that you are presented with.
Kusho ukuthi njena kulama trainings ethu. Yes, sinalama trainers nje which is good. Yes, le kamanzini le in the department. Yes, vele sinala labaqeqeshi. So ke kunalama topics ke Mr. Siso lesiwabukako sikhulumisa nje i-issue yama toilets vele. Yeah, high priority because lamanye ukhanza sa akendeki kahle. Yes, sikhulumisa ema issues waste management. Like I said, but I didn't mention waste management 126 wabo. It's improper waste management.
Okay.
So you
That's a
see,
lot.
there is that issue. So even that one, siyafundisa ngayo. Banaso ke nale structure nabo. Kunemasaka labafaka khona bese ayaphikwa ekwaluseni. But it's just that some of them they are not complying.
Right.
So we're trying to maybe good is motivated on that. Bese sikhulumisa the issues of hygiene. Yes, kune model nje lesiba encourage ngayo sithi TP tap. Kuthi bayisebenzisa kanjani kusigubhu. Uthola nje isigubhu semas ukwakhe kahle uyakumountela then usebenzisele inyawo. Ngezatanda sithi kube lapha emthoyi ngoba what we have discovered kulama issues abo wash vele letandla ngito lelethi hambisa kakhulu because noma ngabe ngikholela noma ngabe ngidari hansi igcina kungena ngalomlomo. Yeah, so letandla nangabe vele tinako lokuthi tiwasheke kahle kuba kahle kakhulu. Then sema issues ke labo hygiene bahamba a long way bangene nalatindlini bo food safety. Yes, kudla siyakuphatha kahle siyakumbonya. Ngoba nangakangibonyi impungane yasuka iyangena lapha uyabona umuntu so vele ngile hygiene bo pest control. When you talk of pest control kune nangabe le hygiene engasiko kahle maphela nala ngaphandle ifu kunalo tshani dawukhanza sekunale overgrowth sekuba nemagundwane. Yes, so ke vele sizama nje ukukhulumisa konke lokho.
Yeah. Ngiyakhathata impela. Letinye tinvo lana ungathathela phasi lokugeza nje tandla invo lekufuna siyende very frequently. And I don't think bantu bakuthathela lo munye nje uyambona ngena lapha esitolo athenga ama chips amazambane. So uphumile so vele uyawadla khona la. Letandla lo munye ukhanza uthi I don't know ukuthi nik encourage kangakanani so usebenzisa sanitizer so uyala but sanitizer I don't think ukuthi into ledliwako.
Yeah, okay, sanitizer ngicabanga ukuthi ibese iyasebenza nje but vele siyesinga encourage especially nangabe unale access emandini. Yes, nangabe vele emanti akhona sithi nje ngoba ukaza ukuthi sekunaloku lidzakanyana lokungcola so vele kufuna ucale thina nje sithi ucala uwashe letandla maybe songayisebenzisa le sanitizer. So ngicabanga nje lo munye usuke esenda ukuthi mhlambe noma sosesigangeni sekude vele kashame but vele we advise ukuthi asicale siwashe tandla tethu sisuse lokungcola. Yes, then
let's break down the benefits of the campaign lena for nanangilendlot losa sola ngabada anike na inhloko ndakwasilalela nje nyala ekhaya nanangilohlala endlini yakhe lokuthathela past letinvo leti there should be an array of benefits.
Yes, in fact nje I'm trying to maybe just to motivate. Yes, bo landlord Nkosi yami kude lokubi so we are just begging really begging as a department ukuthi they should come let us sit down ngoba uyathi wena Mr. Sifiso nangabe bangedi ngeke vele kusisebentele. So like I was saying the last weekend the turn up yabo beyikhona but it was not so good as compared to lama tenants nalaba shothi letakhamuti. So siyacela kakhulu I benefit yako yona vele kushothi nje is vis-a-vis lama problems.
Right.
Like I've said there is kunema issues abo waste management. So nase sebafundisekile lama issues aka waste management atawustrengthenishwa. So batawukhona kubutha kahle tibi ngoba sometimes utokhanza ukuthi nakule strategy zabo maybe khona lokungahambi kahle but as we're discussing the issues and lokuhleke lapha kunalama community leaders kunalama community le committee yenkundla. So sizama nalokuthi singathi sibatshele bavuke because they've got all the powers. Yes, lenye benefit yakhona lama sanitary facilities sinako lokuthi atoba kahle bawalungise bantu ngoba abantu abesebafundisekile. Issues of hygiene la ama toilets nje sesiyathi ukuthi sidaba nalama hand hygiene facilities. Yes, so we hope vele ukuthi utawuba kahle kakhulu.
Yeah, and of course in turn there should be a minimization of konke lokugula lokukhona
Yeah.
ngathi nwabita ngema
diarrheal cases.
diarrheal cases.
Yes,
That's
and in most cases, vele kulama overcrowded areas nje, they go like.
Yeah.
So that's why we are saying no, let us just work. Yeah, work vele nalama overcrowded areas.
Yeah, no, it's quite interesting ukuthi sisincenga abantu ukuthi bahlanteke kude kutawuphila bona.
Uyabona. But ke ezisentale training, I think because it's in ngiloko ukuthi simfundise lo muntu realize. Yeah, because wamenta lo ukuthi realize then ungamfundisi lo ukuthi athathe nje, but I discover ukuthi vele uyati where I am, I need to stand up.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Asiba invite, there should be another campaign that let corner in the next few days.
Yes,
I hope.
yeah. In fact, it's an ongoing trainings.
Okay.
Yeah, so vele nje on weekends. So kungaba ngilokucela nje ukuthi please ngalokuthi labo lokucopho naleli committee lenkundla vele baya invite kulamalanga. So sicela nje lokuthi sibambisane. Ikakhulu nje lama tenants ngosami, I mean lama landlords sicela bekhona nalawa bekuzondila angakabi khona. I-venue ke Mr. Fiso this weekend itabe sekwaluseni Central Primary School next to OK Foods. So nje they should come in numbers. Bonke bo landlords basekwaluseni sicela sibabe khona.
Yeah.
Yes.
No, thank you so much, Celiwe. I hope there's nothing lenguvalela ngephandle ukuthi uyisho and motivating bantu ukuthi bete kulo msebenzi ngemgcibelo. I think personally mina I understand the importance of lo msebenzi lona sonje kukhutsata wona eMaswati ukuthi aye ngemgcumulo setula and since yona indzawo ema directives cases bete impilo besinabo evikini leliphelile indzaba ye-cholera bayigcizelele ukuthi isaphinze yavela ema in our neighboring countries, and it's a cause for concern njengoba sihlale sitravela kangaka. And in fact nje konke kugula lokukhona kwabona le mikhuhlane labo COVID-19 kuyathelelana nabo ngadiphathi kahle kuhlanteka. So thank you so much for joining us this morning. Sethembe ukuthi umsebenzi utawuhamba kahle. Asibahlele emakethe sitabuya sichubeke nehlelo.
Ujala masada mahle kunathi lesa.
Sabatandi ukuthi njengalokho sibile sive sithi khulume.
Kude lesinye isikhathi ngaphandle kwalesi.
Aba research bafunde.
Being risky means ukuthi nalokuwa kwayo kulula.
Nathi kufuna sende ukukhicita lokusembili.
When you choose your adventures, you do so with an open heart and a desire for the unexpected. You embark on journeys to discover new worlds full of wonder. You choose a path to awaken your senses, a world to make you look up and realize just how inspiring this life can be. Arrive and awaken your heart. Explore life in ways only thought possible in your dreams. Discover just how far you'll go to expand your understanding of life's greatest mysteries. There's just one place on this planet with so much to offer. Now is the time for you to have the royal experience in the kingdom.
Biomedical engineering researchers at Johns Hopkins University are working to transform heart patient care. They can now create a personalized digital model of a patient's heart, a digital twin, and use artificial intelligence to help better predict which patients are most at risk of sudden cardiac death. The technology is aimed at improving clinical decision-making, says Professor Natalia Trayanova.
We would like the doctors, when they make decisions for treatment, to use our digital twin to develop the optimal treatment.
Artificial intelligence touches nearly every aspect of our digital lives, but there are few laws governing its use. Technology is constantly evolving and creating new possibilities in our world. One of the most exciting and powerful developments is the emergence of generative artificial intelligence tools. These tools, such as ChatGPT, Gemini, and Llama 2, use advanced algorithms to produce original and creative content with unprecedented capabilities. Yet the unknown consequences of machine learning are increasing calls for virtual guardrails to help protect consumers. President Joe Biden used an October executive order to direct AI companies to share results from tests on the safety of their technologies as artificial intelligence expands the boundary of human possibility and tests the bounds of human understanding. But AI researchers say authorities should not rely entirely on companies' self-reporting.
It's challenging to just accept what a company is saying about their technology at face value. They're incentivized as a corporation to adopt an optimistic position around how well the technology is working. If they want to depend on internally reported testing performance and internal audit reports, then they have to set standards about what information is going to be externally reported. Federal regulators need to be the ones to set the scope of, like, here's all the things that you need to provide us.
One standard to consider is the number of users on a platform and how they are using AI.
To really understand where risks are evolving, say misinformation risks, you need actual really detailed access by supervisors to usage data. With regards to the leading AI models, the public and regulators are completely in the dark. We don't know how much GPT-4 is being used for generating real-looking news articles. We don't know how much it is being used for cyber-related activities.
Meta is one of the examples I look at of a company where, even if they're claiming open source accessibility for those that are doing research on these models, the fact that we don't have any visibility into the training data and we don't have any visibility into the training code also blocks a certain type of critique.
President Biden's executive order calls for greater transparency, but questions of enforcement and accountability remain.
We're talking about maybe 1,000 people on planet Earth who are making decisions that will affect billions of people. The most safe thing we could do around this is hold companies and their shareholders, their boards of directors, criminally liable for the harmful products that they design.
In the United States, government agencies such as the National Institute of Standards and Technology, the Departments of Homeland Security, Energy and Commerce will establish guidelines for issues including algorithmic discrimination and the authentication of human-made online content versus AI-generated content.
It's been years of us trying to see movement on the legislative front, and this sort of new strategy of looking to the executive branch as an opportunity to get some accountability for these companies had sort of this surprising win of just a long kind of comprehensive effort to push forward some of the action on this.
European lawmakers reached a landmark deal late last year to place curbs on how AI can be used in Europe. The United Kingdom appears to be taking a more hands-on approach, with Prime Minister Rishi Sunak's government investing in an AI safety institute that he says will independently evaluate, monitor and test the safety of AI models.
What we can't do is expect companies to mark their own homework. Right? I don't think people would expect that in other walks of life. It's incumbent on governments to keep their citizens safe and protected, and that's the approach we take to everything else. That's the approach we'll take here.
The United Nations has an international AI advisory board of experts across the commercial, academic, and public sectors to make recommendations on global governance of AI and ways in which the technology can help fulfill the UN's Sustainable Development Goals.
Welcome back. This is the news at 7. The Deputy Prime Minister, Honorable Kusile has commended efforts of safe houses as well as institutions dedicated to caring for abandoned and orphaned children. Dladla lauded these establishments for their commitment to providing a safe haven and nurturing environment for vulnerable children. Dlamini affirmed the government's support for such initiatives, expressing readiness to extend assistance, particularly in facilitating the procurement of birth certificates for these children. The Deputy Prime Minister was speaking when touring a number of these establishments.
The Deputy Prime Minister, Honorable Dladla, embarked on a series of visits to various establishments and care points dedicated to raising orphaned children.
Project Canaan, a huge project.
The Deputy Prime Minister expressed her gratitude for the invaluable role these establishments play in supporting orphaned children. She highlighted the significance of the projects like Project Canaan, which provides care for newborns aged 0 to 2 years. One poignant aspect of her visit was the revelation of stories concerning abused girl children who have found refuge in certain safe houses. The Deputy Prime Minister expressed shock at hearing these accounts. Constance Simelane, the former first female Deputy Prime Minister in Eswatini, says the DPM's visit means a lot and they were able to share their challenges. The Deputy Prime Minister requests Eswatini to report abuse by calling the toll-free number 116. For Eswatini TV News, Sondomlangeni, Manzini Luandle.
The House of Assembly's Ministry of Justice and Constitutional Affairs Portfolio Committee has called upon Minister for Justice, Honorable Prince Simelane, to address ongoing concerns within the judiciary. Members of Parliament pressed the minister to clarify the extent of his authority in resolving these issues during his presentation of the ministry's performance report for the year 2023-2024.
Members of the House of Assembly's Portfolio Committee of the Ministry of Justice and Constitutional Affairs have voiced grave concerns regarding irregularities unfolding within the judiciary. Several parliamentarians highlighted what they perceive as the misallocation of resources, particularly citing the government's deployment of rented vehicles for transporting school children. The scrutiny intensified as members of Parliament questioned the Minister for Justice, the Honourable Prince Simelane, on his apparent lack of intervention in addressing these critical issues.
Because phela judicial ngawe yayikhipha uyibeka lapha ithi sebentele ithi pasisene yende njengoba yenda la eveni. Ngushiso yini ke minister uvakele minister lehlangana wathi lokhu bakwendini lo angathi lutho. Even today you compare to that awathi lutho, but you are having the minutes. Why are we here? Why today are you asking us to pass that budget for that ministry? Recently ngithole ukuthi kunemoto lentirenthayo khona le judicial, but as we speak tipakile timele ukuthi umntwana aphume esikolweni timthathe tombeke ekhaya tibile tiyopaka werep ngubani lo controller leti moto le ministry of judicial uma ngayetsa kanjani. Cela sibambise intiko bahlonishwa bahlonishwa siyabona kuhambe kahle kuleli tiko akuhambi kahle ngeke sigege lo.
In response, the Minister, Honorable Prince Simelane, underscored the constitutional independence of the judiciary, asserting that his hands are tied in matters pertaining to its operations. He emphasized that while he acknowledges the concerns raised, his ability to intervene directly is constrained by legal frameworks that safeguard the judiciary autonomy.
Namaste ngoba kunye cha nami solo ngabamba lentulo ngive emaphepheni kwekuthi ukuthi ngisho munye la vene even na minister nje bamba lofanele abangenangena phathaphathe nje tinkulunyanyanyana ku-independent kwale ngethemba siyakwazi sonke lokho.
Minister Simelane expressed his earnest desire for collaboration with parliamentarians to address the challenges facing the judiciary. He extended an invitation for collective action, suggesting that if there were avenues for direct engagement and accountability, he would readily participate in seeking solutions. For Eswatini TV News, Sondomlangeni, Parliament.
Government has sprung to action to try and resolve the problems that engulf the University of Eswatini, resulting to turbulent operations at the institution. This has been said by the Minister of Education and Training, Honorable Owen Ngumalo, when pleading with the Portfolio Committee on the Ministry of Education in the House of Assembly to pass the ministry's budget. The Portfolio Committee also debated the end-of-year performance report of the ministry for the year 2023-2024.
The Minister of Education, Honorable Owen Ngumalo, pleaded with the Portfolio Committee on the Ministry of Education to pass the ministry's budget allocation for the year 2024-2025, which is about 4,138 million emalangeni, for the ministry to forge ahead with its programs, which include the conversion of temporary teachers into permanent ones, the strengthening of vocational skills training in the country, and the continuous implementation of the free primary education. The members of the committee then debated the ministry's performance report and budget.
Leli gama lithi free lingenda ngitibute kuthi ngabe free primary noma free stationary.
These institutions, ikakhulu inyuvesi, they are given subventions by the government. Ingabe vele the subventions afika to what level? Kusita these institutions.
Letikolo lenithi nine kufundza khona tiphindze tinokwe ngibani titawunakwa tinkhundla na.
Benginembono ukuthi kuya ngami njengelilunga lasemathanjeni ngabe vele le free education seyafakwa na la high school.
Due to time constraints, the minister orally responded to some of the committee members' questions and submissions and promised to provide written responses to all concerns raised on a date to be determined by the Portfolio Committee Chairman.
Mhlonishwa Chairperson, sesikhona schedule sesisakhile lesitawuhamba se-university siyowenda i-assessment lokushoko lokutawubuketa tonke letinkinga lababhekene nato but abese basithulele ama-findings ngalesibili nje cabinet labe ngithula ama-terms of reference ngilithula nalibandla letintshontshofu elitawuvele liye khona lapha e-uniswa naleti ndzaba tema-delayed allowances siyayikhuluma nemlingano wami leyo problem leyo singayisotha kanjani.
Reporting, Mbongwa Dube, Lobamba.
The shortage of financial resources is a hindrance to the full decentralization of the Ministry of Agriculture's programs. These were the sentiments of the Minister of Agriculture, Honorable Mandla Chauka, when pleading with the House of Assembly's Portfolio Committee on Agriculture to pass the budget of allocation for the ministry. The Honorable Minister was delivering his preamble to the budget and performance report for the year 2023-2024.
The Minister of Agriculture, Honorable Mandla Chauka, delivered his preamble to the end-of-year performance report for 2023-2024 and budget debate for his ministry for the year 2024-2025. The minister mentioned that the ministry's programs need to be implemented swiftly in the spirit of Nkwe, as commanded by His Majesty King Mswati III at Sibaya, so as to ensure that the country attains food security and create employment opportunities in the agriculture sector.
For this phase,
which is the actual construction of the dam and resettlements, an amount of 659,809,000 is allocated. LUCIP 2 is at irrigation infrastructure development stage. An amount of 417,324,000 has been allocated to complete the work so that Eswatini can enjoy the benefits from this initiative. Other capital projects, Mr. Chairman, account for the balance of 101,981,000 allocated to the ministry.
The committee then debated the ministry's budget and performance report.
The subsidy ingakwenda lokho ukuthi bakhuthathe ukuthi bangene kuyo noma ngaphandle ukuthi itiko liyayibukela njengetigaba ukuthi ingentiwa kanjani ukuze abantu babe motivated ukuthi balime.
Siyethemba minister kule budget loyilethile ikhona isubsidy ukuthi nangabe le dipping chemical seyiphelile uyicelele ukuthi iyawuthengwa ngemali lengaka lama contract leni wanikako akhe lamadamu anilanzeleli bayadoja kakhulu lamadamu lamasha ehlulwa nangale siwakhazito
yabona nasingasebenza leyo check lelo masungakhulu kambe nekhaya nangathola ukuthi sinqobane.
At the time of compiling this report, the Portfolio Committee was still debating and the minister was yet to respond. Reporting, Mbonga Dube, Lobamba.
The Minister of Education and Training, Honorable Owen Nxumalo, wants head teachers to desist from the habit of expelling learners from owed school fees. The minister says this may have a negative bearing on the lives of the learners, yet the agreement of the payment of school fees are between parents and schools and not the learners. The minister was speaking during a press conference in the ministry's office.
The Ministry of Education and Training wishes to bring it to the attention of these head teachers that expelling learners due to owing school fees is against the legal frameworks guiding education and training in the country, namely the Constitution of the Kingdom of Eswatini, the Education Sector Policy 2018, Free Primary Education Act 2010. The ministry wishes to remind head teachers that a school enters into an agreement with the parent, guardian of each learner and not with the learner. Therefore, it is not conceivable why learners should suffer the consequences when the parent and the school breach the agreement. The state-funded primary education came about through the Constitution, which is the supreme law of the land. It is implemented through the Act of Parliament, and the Act stipulates clearly how top-up fees are to be charged in schools. To this end, head teachers are not supposed to charge top-up fees at this level without an approval from the Minister of Education and Training. The OVC grant is administered under the Office of the Deputy Prime Minister, and it is afforded to learners who are destitute and have no one to cater for their school fees. It is therefore inconceivable that head teachers will expel these learners for fees. These learners are also not supposed to be charged top-up fees and or deposit during admission and registration. Moreover, the ministry has noted an unbecoming behavior from head teachers who now stigmatize and discriminate against orphaned and vulnerable children to the extent that they deny them admission in their schools. The Ministry of Education and Training, through the established structure from the regional education offices and inspectorate, will be deployed to closely monitor the situation, and the ministry will not hesitate to take disciplinary measures against head teachers found to be involved in this act.
The National Prosecuting Authority of South Africa has not filed the extradition application in the matter of 2 accused persons who have been arrested in the country in connection with the murder of hip-hop artist Keenan Forbes, popularly known as AKA. It is for this reason that the Director of Public Prosecutions, represented by Principal Crown Counsel Macebo Ngumalo, asked that the matter should be postponed to the 12th of this month. The accused persons are Siyabonga Gezani Ndimande and Malusi Dave Ndimande.
The 2 accused persons were arrested in Nkwalini Zone 4 in Mahwalala. They were arrested on February 24th and made their first court appearance on the 26th of February. The 2 accused persons were wanted together with Lindokuhle Mhlaliseni Ndimande by the South African police. Lindokuhle was later arrested in South Africa. It is for this reason that the Director of Public Prosecutions, Principal Crown Counsel Macebo Ngumalo, applied that this provision of arrest should be withdrawn. He also made an application regarding 4 cell phones that were found in possession of the accused persons.
Once the documents, the formal documents for extradition have been received, the Director of Public Prosecution in Swaziland will make a substantive application for the extradition of the respondents back to their country that were found in the possession of the respondent. They can be submitted to the requesting state even before the extradition application has been finalized. So we'll be making submission on that.
The accused person's legal representative, lawyer Sivesonke Ngwenya, had no problem in postponing the matter. However, he raises concerns regarding the investigation officer's affidavit on 4 cell phones that were found in possession of the suspects.
Therefore, my lord, as we are all aware that this is a sensitive matter, it would be risky for us to proceed and without having touched base or liaised or even seen the face of the affidavit, my lord. In that event, my lord, my humbly make an application that the issue of the detention be deferred to the next remand, which is the 12th day of March 2024. I am of the firm belief that there will be no prejudice that will be suffered by the Crown for this postponement, my lord, on this aspect and the issue of the exhibits, my lord.
Another extradition matter that was attended by the court is that of Mfanengos Makakula of Umliba. He is wanted in South Africa to answer to charges of murdering Sandile Matebula at Kanyamazane in South Africa. He also faces a charge of attempted murder as well as defeating the ends of justice that, after committing the offense, he escaped from South Africa to Eswatini. His case was also postponed to the 12th of this month. He is represented by lawyer Sivesonke Ngwenya. For Eswatini TV News, Fortune Dlangamandla, Magistrate Court, Manzini.
Constant communication between the Office of the Master of the High Court and estate executors results in other beneficiaries, assuming that the two are collaborating in alleged mismanagement of estates. This has been said by Master of the High Court's Assistant Master Zandile Masondo when responding to allegations that she is interfering with the distribution of Luka Shongwe's estate. This was when the estate of the deceased was deliberated upon before the Judicial Commission investigating alleged malpractice in the Office of the Master of the High Court.
The estate of the deceased Luka Shongwe, who died in the year 2021, includes 17 cows. Shongwe had 7 children from 2 different women. One of the women, Pinky Dlamini, said the Office of the Master of the High Court is allegedly frustrating her. She said this is because they are refusing her permission to sell 3 cows. Dlamini says she wanted to use the money for school fees. She later told the Office of the Master of the High Court to keep the cows as she was no longer in need of them.
Bese ngicela ukuthi abatithathe tonke letinkomo ngoba vele ngibanjwe ngato hayi ukuthi anginenza mina uNkulunkulu utangibona ifamily ukuthi abe ngi-execute
kumbe make kukhona indlu la ngangipha yona lesho ukuthi ngumngana executive.
Master of the High Court Office Assistant Master Zandile Masonto says Pinky Dlamini is not listed as one of the beneficiaries from the deceased estate. She says the painful thing is that 7 cows that disappeared from the estate belong to her, so now she is not eligible to benefit from the estate. Masonto further dispute allegations that she is in bed with the executor, as assumed by Pinky Dlamini. The Judicial Commission of Inquiry investigating alleged malpractice in the office of the Master of the High Court, Commissioner Mzwandile Fagutse, says the office of the Master should investigate and ascertain what happened to the 7 cows that are missing.
What effort nangayifaka Master in that regard? Khona kuba clear ukuthi singaqabanga ukuthi mhlambe vele that's an issue. Ngoba it could be ukuthi she has a case.
Master of the High Court Deputy Master Lindelwa Magagula says the office will resolve and finalize the dissolution of the Shongwe estate. For Eswatini TV News, Fortune Dlanga Mandla with Bongani Masuku Mbabane.
Take focus now on international news. Heavily armed gangs tried to seize control of Haiti's main international airport on Monday, exchanging gunfire with police and soldiers in the latest attack on key government sites in an explosion of violence that includes a mass escape from the country's 2 biggest prisons.
It was scenes of chaos at Haiti's main airport on Monday as gang violence continued to take hold of the country. Battling with police and military, shots were fired and people fled on foot. It's a situation that appears to only be getting worse. Since the country's acting Prime Minister Ariel Henry travelled to Nairobi on Thursday and gang leader Jimmy Chirizier seized the opportunity for a coordinated attack in an attempt to overthrow him. In recent days, gangs have overrun key government sites such as police stations and the country's largest prisons. The US is keeping an eye on the events but is yet to commit troops.
We are closely monitoring the situation and condemn efforts by gangs to further destabilize and take control of Haiti. It's our understanding that the Prime Minister is returning to the country. We think it's important that he do so and that he be allowed to do so.
In a camp in Port-au-Prince, displaced people line up for food and supplies. They are among an estimated 15,000 people who have fled the violence.
We left the gangs of armed men from Grand Ravine. I didn't have time to take any of my things. Even my underwear I didn't have time to take. I was running. I didn't know what to do.
According to the UN, an estimated 80% of the capital is controlled by gangs. Many Haitians were already displaced and now their future is more uncertain as the uptick in violence creates further instability.
A United Nations report has found credible allegations that sexual assaults took place during the October 7 Hamas attack on southern Israel. A team led by the United Nations Special Envoy for Sexual Violence in Conflict, Pramila Patten, found reasonable grounds to believe Hamas committed rape as well as sexualized torture. Patten presented the report Monday at the United Nations.
In the words of the United Nations, it's a site of grave violations. A new report says it's likely that multiple incidents of sexual violence, including gang rape, occurred at the Nova Music Festival and other locations during the Hamas attacks on October 7.
In most of these incidents, victims were first subjected to rape and then killed, and at least 2 incidents relate to the rape of women's corpses. We found a recurring pattern of victims found fully or partially undressed, bound and shot. And we found that although circumstantial, such a pattern may be indicative of some forms of sexual violence.
The report comes after a visit to Israel and the West Bank by UN staff in January and February. Information was gathered during meetings with Israeli institutions, interviews with more than 30 people, including survivors and released hostages, and analysis of photos and 50 hours of footage. However, the team was unable to speak to any victims of sexual violence themselves. The report also says there was clear and convincing information that some of the hostages taken to Gaza were subject to rape and sexualized torture.
We also have reasonable grounds to believe that such violence may still be ongoing against those still held in captivity. This finding does not in any way legitimize further violence, but actually reinforces the need for an urgent ceasefire.
On Monday, Israel criticized the timing of the report, saying it took the UN 5 months to finally recognize sexual crimes committed on October 7. The UN stressed it is not a full-fledged investigation. Israel has blocked such a probe by the organization's Human Rights Office over what the country's leaders allege is anti-Israel bias.
Germany accused Russian President Vladimir Putin of trying to sow disunity with the wiretap leak of a confidential German army discussion on the Ukraine war at a time when Berlin is under pressure to supply the Taurus missile to Kyiv.
The German ambassador to Russia visiting the Russian Foreign Ministry for what promised to be a tense meeting after a recording of German military officials discussing how to support Ukraine against the Kremlin's invasion was leaked.
Herr Botschafter, wollen Sie wieder kicken, was das? Kein Kommissar.
The recording includes discussions about arms deliveries to Ukraine, in particular long-range Taurus missiles, which Berlin has so far refused to supply because of the risk of escalation. At one point, officers speculate as to whether the missiles could be used to hit a key bridge linking Crimea to the Russian mainland. It was enough to trigger the Kremlin, which said the conversations show the direct involvement of the collective West in the conflict in Ukraine.
The German generals directly admit we need to do something so that the Ukrainians shoot with our help, but so that no one finds out about us, and that the French, British, and Americans are there.
We will show restraint, of course, but we will remember this.
The German authorities have confirmed the authenticity of the recording, but dismiss Moscow's allegations that it shows Germany's preparing for war.
This is absurdly infamous Russian propaganda, and anyone who listens to the conversation will hear that this does not follow from the conversation the officers had with each other.
Berlin has promised an investigation. It accuses Moscow of leaking the conversation in an attempt to divide Europe. The recording, which raised serious questions about the security of German military communication, was published on Russian social media late on Friday, the same day that late opposition politician Alexei Navalny was laid to rest.
Super Tuesday could be former UN Ambassador Nikki Haley's last chance to stop former United States President Donald Trump's drive to clinch the 2024 Republican presidential nomination. 15 states hold the party's nominating contest on March 5, the biggest day of primaries, when more than a third of delegates will be assigned to July's Republican National Convention in Milwaukee. President Joe Biden is a shoe-in for the Democratic nomination when party loyalists vote for delegates to August's Democratic National Convention in Chicago, with only 2 long-shot challengers remaining.
Super Tuesday is normally the first big day of the presidential primary calendar, but this year it could mark a premature end of the race for the Republican nomination. Elections are being held in 15 states, plus American Samoa. A total of 865 delegates are up for grabs, with more than a third of those in California and Texas. And the frontrunner Donald Trump looks set to continue his winning run.
He's going to accumulate a ton of delegates on Super Tuesday. He may win every single contest. And once, if and when he does that, I mean, Super Tuesday is still the biggest single event on the nominating calendar. It's something like roughly a third of the delegates in both parties are awarded.
As it stands, the former president has 273 delegates, as opposed to 43 for his sole remaining challenger, Nikki Haley. Even a clean sweep of delegates on Tuesday would not bring Trump to the 1,215 he needs to secure the nomination. But Haley could make all that academic in the coming days.
She's not dropping out because she keeps raising money.
You know, she actually outraised Donald Trump in January. She raised more than $11 million to his. I think it was about $8, a little bit more than $8. So, you know, I've spoken to people close to her campaign who tell me that they would not be surprised at all if come Wednesday morning or even Tuesday night, if she ultimately does decide enough is enough, it's time to get out.
It all points to a repeat of the 2020 election in November between Trump and President Joe Biden. The incumbent faces two challengers in the Democratic primaries on Super Tuesday, but despite a protest vote over Gaza in Michigan last week, Biden has taken 99% of delegates so far, suggesting Super Tuesday will be little more than a formality.
President Joe Biden won the Michigan primary on Tuesday, yet results from the state highlighted one of his biggest political vulnerabilities ahead of the November general election. A vigorous, uncommitted campaign organized by activists disillusioned with Biden's handling of the war in Gaza was making headway. It far surpassed the 10,000 vote margin by which former President Donald Trump won Michigan in 2016, a goal set by organizers of this year's protest effort.
These members of Minnesota's Somali community say anger towards President Biden for not calling a ceasefire has swung their vote.
It's like they have a license to kill innocent kids. And for that reason, it's inhumane to vote for that candidate.
By choosing the uncommitted option on the ballot, a voter backs the party without committing to any of the listed candidates. Last week in Michigan, Biden saw a surprise slide as some 13% of Democrats there voted uncommitted in the primary, following a campaign aimed at pressuring the president to change his policy on Israel. The Democrats didn't believe the movement would gain momentum in other states, but in Minnesota, a coalition of progressive Democrats and Muslim Americans are pushing the cause.
Our own president that we elected is refusing to listen to us. This type of policy is a threat to our democracy itself, because he has to be able to understand that his public, the people who actually elected him, are telling him no more killing. And this is not something nuanced issue. This is about saving lives and ending war.
The strength of the campaign in Michigan fell on a high demographic of young voters, progressives and Arab Americans. Minnesota saw one of the highest levels of youth turnouts in the midterms, at 1 percentage point behind Michigan. It's home to some 108,000 Arab Americans, compared to around 277,000 in Michigan. Unlike Michigan, Minnesota is not expected to be a battleground state, as the Democrats have seen historic success there. The vote is all the same being closely observed as a test of Biden's strength within his party.
Minister for Sports Honorable Bongani Nzima says the ministry has spent over 150,000 malangeni as a token of appreciation to athletes from 5 sporting codes who represented the country well in the international competitions in the year 2023. The minister has said this when reporting about his ministry's performance to its portfolio committee in the House of Assembly on Monday.
On Monday, the Minister for Sports, Honorable Bongani Nzima, was reporting on the ministry's performance for the year 2023-2024 to the Portfolio Committee of the Ministry of Sports in Parliament, where it was reported that the ministry spent over 150,000 emarangeni as a token of appreciation to 4 sporting corps that managed to get medals from international competitions. The associations are swimming, taekwondo, darts, and Special Olympics, who came home with different medals included gold, silver, and bronze. The minister went on to report on the successful completion of the 3rd phase of the Somhloro National Stadium rehabilitation, where the ministry spent an amount of 15 million emarangeni. Other successful project that conducted by the ministry was the host of the Region 5 Sports Awards and the host of the National Sports Disability Day. The minister concluded touching on the issue of sports policy that the ministry deliberated on during the course of 2023 that aimed at pushing the sports movement in the country to finally become independent, where at some point associations can at some point operate fully professional. For Eswatini TV Sports, Fabi Sumsonera with Temingos Mavimera in Parliament.
That's how we wrap up our English news. We go for a net break. We speak to Lutsango Regiment Secretary Joyce Gama after the break.
Be sure to catch Business Watch every Wednesday between 2 p.m. to 3 p.m., where we feature the latest updates on business news, market trends, and exclusive interviews with industry leaders, as well as insights on emerging small and medium enterprises in the commercial sector. Business Watch, your business leader.
Sabatandi ukuthi njengalokhu vile sive sikhulume.
When you choose your adventures, you do so with an open heart and a desire for the unexpected. You embark on journeys to discover new worlds, full of wonder. You choose a path to awaken your senses, a world to make you look up and realize just how inspiring this life can be. Arrive and awaken your heart. Explore life in ways only thought possible in your dreams. Discover just how far you'll go to expand your understanding of life's greatest mysteries. There's just one place on this planet with so much to offer. Now is the time for you to have the royal experience in the kingdom.
Olomhla siphindze sikwamukele ehlelweni sitawuchumana nalo ngangamabhalane weluthango libutho letelithango make Joyce Gama kukhulumisa indzaba lenkulu sigathe yona imphela sonto kulandzela ukuthi His Majesty King Mswati III has summoned luthango kutheneni luphelele ebuganweni bakhe. Mayegama sikwamukele ehlelweni lomhla ekseni sikuvusele engabe nje sisabheke kuyo imphela sonto kuyaye kube khona lenyayeni ifise ukukhumbuta sive semaswati lesi kujabulela kakhulu kuya kuwo umkhosi webuganu ikakhulu lenyayeni kufanele ukuhambisa embili kukhutsata indzaba ye registration. Ngicela ukuphala lithuba mayegama nalomhla ekseni kuthi uinvite emaswati wakhumbute ngabo bomcoka bekuthi babhalise.
Ngivuthele kuye umbukeli ekhaya sisho ukuthi siluthango lwakangwane singiwo emaswati sijabula kakhulu ukuthi njalo ngeminyaka kube khona lo mcimbi lomkhulu kangaka webugani bakhe lapho singemaswati sihlangana khona sikanye netivakashi letiqhamuka kulamanye emazwe amadiplomati nabo bonke bomakhelwane labathi nabo batobuka kuhle bemasiko lemihambo yemaswati.
Mayegama lo kuyaye uthandze ukugcizelela indzaba yokubhalisa bantu ukuthi basheshe babhalise ngiyafuna lokuphala lithuba nanyalo ukuthi ukugcizelele lokho kuhambisana netizathu takhe ekuthenini kumcokaleni ukuthi basheshe babhalise.
Kumcoka ukuthi luthango lubhalise tikhulwini talo lapho basuka khona ngekuthi nje kufuna ukuthi umuntu kwatiwe ukuthi bangakhi leli butho lebahambile lapho babo bani nekuthi nje ngoba kufuna bese bayathola nemiyalo khona lapho nekuthi sithole tinombolo ukuthi ke bangakhi labahamba ukuthi noma ngabe umuntu sowunenkinga akhone ukuthi isebenteke ngoba athiwa ukuthi wasiphi isikole nekuthi ke sigcizelela ekutheni bangabokhohlwa emakhadi abo ekugula lebanako ngoba umuntu cishe wonke unegula kwakhe nemaphilisi abo labanye banemaphilisi nje vele labahlala bawanazi bese ke kuba khona ukuthi umuntu mhlawumbe lomunye sogula vele lokuthi mhlawumbe akadingi ukuthi angaba lapho kunebantu abaningi ufuna ukuthi naye asicabangele ngoba noma bakhona belisiko letempilo kepha vele babuka tona timo tekuthi bahlangabetana nempilo yebantu nabo labayinakekelako impilo yabo.
Usathinza indzaba yokuthi bantu noma ke luthango alubhalise ngoba kuphindze kuvele lithuba lokuthi luthole imiyalo lisasuka siyathi ukuthi imiyalo ihambisana nenhlonipho ngifuna lokuva bomcoka bayo inhlonipho kumkhosi lofana nebuganu bakhe ikakhulu nje sithi nje emikhosini yonke vele yelive siyathi ukuthi inhlonipho kangwane iyagcizelelwa athatha lethuba mayegama ugcizelele indzaba yenhlonipho encenye nekufika ngesikhathi ngoba naloko cishe nje kuhambisana nayo inhlonipho ukuthi bantu they should heed to letikhathi letibekiwe.
Inhlonipho ngilokuthi nesilumbi baye bathi lokufaka neconduct ekhaya ukuthi phaso umuntu nje kuye kubonakale ngoba labanye ngeSwati abazi basho ukuthi awu lapha kusho ukuthi ukhamba lifuthi impilo ngoba kusho ukuthi la kwendako khona lapha asifunda khona lo kanti lomunye ukukhanza uyadihlalukela nje siyala-ke ukuthi luthango lube nekuthi phatha kahle ikakhulu ngoba kulo mcimbi sevele waba mkhulu kakhulu ukuthi kutela bekuhamba babuye emazweni kunabahambe banesithombe lesihle selithango noma semaswati ukuthi asiphethe kahle nekuthi ke luthango nakusuka lamabhasi labathwala le kuleti khungo lapho basuka khona sicela ukuthi luthango lugcine leti khathi leti sure ukuthi amabhasi atawusuka nini ngoba ekseni nje labo lese bakhona bese ayabathatha ayabareya khona kungatuhalala solo basendleleni sigcizelela ke luthango ukuthi lutame kufika lusheshe lifike kuleto tindzawo lapho luthatha khona.
Kunendzaba lenkulu nje usathinza yona indzaba ukuthi ngumkhosi lomkhulu lona lo vele ukhanga ngisho ivakashi lesichamuka ngephandle kwalapha ekhaya Eswatini. Sibonile ke ukuthi emaveni abomakhelwane kunekukhathateka lokukhona ngekugula kwesifo secholera. Sinibonile ke phambilini niwa invite ematiko lehlukene kufundzisa nje ngetimo letsuke tikhona emhlabeni ngaleto tikhatsi lesikhanza ukuthi ngidabeka ngeligama lesingisi ti coincider nabo umkhosi webugano engabe kunalo uhlangothi lwetempilo kukhona iniveleleni bamemile kuqinisekisa ukuthi bayafundziseka laba bonke labakhona kulomsebenzi ngako kuhlanteka njengoba sathi phela ukuthi na icholera ikhona kubomakhelwane manje ingafiki phela nakithi.
Kuyafundiswa betempilo bayafundisa nasehlane nje sibalandile beta batofundisa yona nje le team nikuthi ke bafundise vele leli butho nesivele bakanexile bahlomile ngato tonke tindlela nemithi bayishomile baka health noma sengibakhulumela nje kodwa vele bashito bakhulumile ngoba sike sangena nabo esihlelweni bahlomile ukuthi libutho liphatheke kahle nekuthi ke bagcizelela kulaba betimakethe ngoba phela kulombuthano lo sithuthukisa temabhizinisi inhlala kahle siyafundisa emathendeni tifundo phinde futhi siphakamise yona le culture ukuthi iphakame netitukulwane letilandzelako sathi ukuthi silive lelilandzela emasiko nemihambo ethu lenawo batawathatha kulabo laba bakhanzile siyagcizelela ukuthi tiwasho tibhidlo makhona lo thangisa bhidlo noma diselo ngoba lo mnye uyathenga akuthetha indlu bathenge baye emakhaya noma diselo akuwashwe phinde futhi nalabo labenta lobo bugano njengoba sebaphisile sibathelile kusenesikhathi ukuthi abuhlobe ubugano bakhe lokudla nine bekunene ngoba vele lesifo singenelana ngekuthi ungahlobi nema-toilet ke tindlu tangasese basithembisile ukuthi tihamba kahle nasebuhlene bekuhamba kahle lesikuxelako elithangweni ukuthi nabo batiphathe kahle phela ngenhlonipho njengoba sisho kokuthi hello
usasekhona amagama sikuva kahle
njengoba sisho kokuthi inhlonipho imcoka bangabese bahamba baya lapha etaleni ngasho njalo bangene kuletindlu tangasese letakhiwe bahloniphe kungabese kubangeka kuqhubeka kwesifo besicela lokho nje eluthangweni nekuthi ke tindvunana sasuka nabo lemakhaya sicele nabo babethulu baselekelele ukuthi luthango uma selogidwa lendasi enkundleni lungasimi ngoba luthango ngathi lona lifuna nje ukuthi mangathi uvuka ekuseni ngathi dipho letimcoka kaningi lokumcoka ngule socialization nale culture nalokuba ndawonye nje sigide sibonane sibe kade sagcinana.
Mayegama kunendzaba lenkulu lana lenye levelako siyabona nakuphuma doda nemeterodo ukuthi luthango aliphelele kubo bugani bakhe indzaba yemvunulo iyagcizelelwa ekuthenini kunemvunulo noma ke umbala welihiya noma wemhelwane welilanga thide akube nguloyo nje kungabe sekuba nemuntu lotawubese soyabhimba kude lento ibe yinhle encenye lokho kusiniketa lithuba lokuthi salo sikhulumisa nje nale yale mvunulo ya lomsebenzi siyeva lokuthi kungathi sekunebantu labangakhoni kuvunula kahle ngiyafuna lokuthi usichazele ukuthi ikuphi vele le concern kule mvunulo ngibaphi la khanza ukuthi sebathi tfola sebangasavunuli kahle
imvunulo ngesiswati isivamisile ukuthi sishe singena mhlambe lesinye inhlelo kodwa uthola kusesine challenge yokuthi kakhulu labasha sebathanda ukuthi into ku social media ngoba siyikhulumise lenzaba ukuthi ingcuce angisithi kunengcuce lese iluthango uluthango kusho ukuthi nje mase siye sithi manje libanyana leligama ukuthi sokutela sesithi sekukhona umntwana lo sowunayo sowungena automatically elithangweni kuleli butho lelithango ngoba njengoba kunemabutho nje imbali isembalini useyintombi sowulithango ke sona sutele awusaphindi phela ube intombi sowungena ngalathangweni noma awukenzi uvunula kanjena njengaloku nale mikhosi nalokuthi nje ubonakale ukuthi wena ungiliphi inthambo iba yinye enhloko yemuntu losatele kusitele kanye kabili asingeke sikubale lokho kepha nje naso utele ungakaphathwa ngumuntu bese sekuba sicholo sakho lesithi emazulu bekaye athi ngoba nathi sesekulabadala asidingeke emaswati asidingi ibese kuba sidwaba sakho lesidwaba asibi nesiya awuvunuli isiya kodwa lo sekwenteka nyalo icishe bonke abantu laba luthango nje ukhanza ukuthi wonke umuntu sowuvunule isiya nalo ngakenzi kanti phela lendlela labonakala ngayo bakhona nokuthi naye atowuthola umuthi bese kuthi lona ke lo wenzile ubonakala ngalo kwengqayela sithi siswati kwengqayela lokuthi uvunulele sisiya lembuthi yakhe mangabe ke neswati nje siyathi kona ukuthi umuntu lo ngathi nje ukhulumisa ngoba kuneligama nalo lelinye lebayibalisho lekusoma nalo linethi kuthiwa linethi ngebekelwa netinene ukhulumisa umfati wemuntu licala le ngoba kusho ukuthi nasebafake tidziya bonke kusho ukuthi sebativalele ngala sebatekwe ngibani bashadwe ngibani ngani phela kufuna sibavunule ngale ndlela leshoko kokuthi nalenye isizwa ingasho ukuthi nami ngingakugcoca ekhaya
mayigama ngoba vele kuliciniso nje njengoba nemajaha ayaya khona ebuganwini lamanye ayafisa ukuthi mina ngifise ukuthi ngigcoce umuntu lo wathandzako emasiko nasafika lena sekakhanza bonke sebavunule tidziya sekulikhuni vele umfuso yatikhuta ukuthi angeke vele ngihambe ngiyawukhulumisa umfati webantu kanti lo muntu lona useseyingcuce bekasesengaba nalo lithuba lokuthi athole umuti njengoba uyiveta engabe ke kugcizelela kulolu hlangothi lwemihelwane imibala nanako siyeva lokuthi kungathi imva vele legcizelelwako njengoba sivile naseti memetelweni ngabe kumcwa kangakanani nako lo ukuthi luthango lisabhalisa livisise lenzaba leyo liphathe imihelwane letawuhambisana kahle nalomsebenzi
lengingakusho nje ukuthi kuye kushiwo ukuthi nelesingakhi linjani bayalalela ke iyaphuma ekwenzaba ewayilesini indvuna iyayimemeta iltiko letasomasezi abalandzele lokho kutoba kuhle kwentelwa lokhu kube yi-uniform ngoba into yeculture yinhle nanende into yini siyajabula-ke ukuthi vele kwentiwa into yini into ke lenye lemcoka lebengifisa ukuthi ingaze ngiphelelwe isikhathi ngingakayisho yindzaba yokuthi indvuna siyacela ukuthi simane sisibukele lolu thango lapha nasekuyogidwa enkundleni ngoba uthola ukuthi bekunene asekufanele ukuthi kuhanjwe kuwe le ndawo hawu luthango lusime kanti phela sendela lokuthi kube kuhle lena enkundleni sihambe kahle ngeticheme tethu ngemiphakathi lesigcizelela tindvunene njengoba sikhuluma nje bekunene tindvuna teluthango tifundzeni kungoba kukhona tetifundza kukhona tetinkundla toting 59 lama constituencies noma ke bese bagete imiphakathi abaselekelele ekutheni leli butho malitile bekunene noma kuyamukelwa noma kwentiwani lihlelembiseke kahle babe nenhlonipho nekulalela sibongile nje esihleni kuhambe kahle kakhulu uma ngaphinze kube njalo nasehlane singajabula kakhulu.
Cha nangemambala sibonile nasetinkundleni tekuchumana ngisho labangasibo balapha kangwane bakuthokodele kakhulu kubona lokho lokube documented khona ebuhleni kakhulu nje nasekuthanjwa inkosatana Sikhanyiso yenda leti bukwako lapha siwabonile ama comments kubo social media abantu bakujabulele kakhulu lokho khona lenye indzaba ngifuna kuyiva siyayisikubone akubi ke engcenye singathi abuganwini kuphela cishe nje imikhosi yonke la ukhanza khona ukuthi sekuba nebantu nje labafuna bona kungathathi order sebawubambe malayini sebafuna kuyobambe malayini etipho sikhathi singakafiki engabe mayegama ngafuna ukuthini kuloko
kusibangela inkinga mbukeli nawe emsakazi ngoba uthola kuthango selivuka ngabo 4 kulesikhathi lesele bavuka ngabo 3 bathi ngoba sive kuthi nekuthi kanti phela bafuna balandele le order lefumako ukuthi ke nase bamenyeka sale bayokudla noma sale benda kuthi bese bayasuka lithango lapho hawu seluyahlangana lapho sebayalimala sebayawa sekuyashisa sivuvu solo bememalayinini kanti bayomukela engcenye emva kwama-hour sinalokucela nje ukuthi luthango mane naleti ndvuna sithathe isipite lapho luthango lungavuki lokwakwi ukuthi uyavuka emathendeni ukhanze sesitemuzi sebasemalayinini kanti babe bakufika kushisa sebayagula tiko letempilo seliba matasatasa kungathi-ke sokhona-ke mhlawumbe umdlo kwendile kanti ngilo luthango lungafuni kuthatha ama-order esikhathini lesifanele kepha-ke bekunini siye bese siyabacela nje ukuthi abasale bahamba batobamba kahle emalayini kodwa-ke bakuhloniphile ehlane siyabonga kakhulu uthango nabangaphinze bende njalo nasebuseni
magama usathinza lendzabe ukuthi banihloniphile nasebuhleni kusabhekwa khona ehlane nacho ngicela namaswati ayeva lo ukuthi nje kwenteke liphutha lelincane lapho sifuna nje lokuthemba ukuthi emalungiselelo kusayiwa khona ehlane sekavele angilasetulu kakhulu kungaba nje ukuthi uthembise emaswati ekuthenini vele umsebenzi sevele niuqalile wekuqinisekisa ukuthi konke kutabe kume ngemumo umsebenzi nawuqala
awusevele kume ngemumo ngoba nje lo ngikhuluma namhlanje siyawuvele siyawusilisha konke kokuthi libandla lenkosi siyawusilisha kokuthi konke kuhambe kahle tivakashi nato temukelekile nato titawuphatheka kahle ngoba kunale mikhakha le matiko ngematiko kokuthi ngilelo tiko libukela ama-diplomats libukele tivakashi kanjalo futhi kubukeke kona kokuthi libutho nalo liphatheka kahle kanjani netifundo baka-RDF nje tinkundla batabe bafundzisa ngato tikhwama lokuphatha imali ubomake bangede bayibuyisela bakhe inhlangano belukhetho i-DC tabafundisa naye ngato tindzaba telikhetho njengoba sekubonakele kokuthi nakukhulunywa esibayeni akuthiwe nkwe etimpentongi lokunye-ke lokusijabulisa kakhulu kukhona labatabe bafundisa ngemdlavuza wesibelisi abafundisi kuphela kunelithende libekiwe lapho bangena khona bomake neminyaka lophele sakwenda bavele bahlolwe nje sibalethele esibhedlela uthi nalo sekhale ekhashane longakhoni kohlola mdlavuza utavuya esideni amanye abuye eshane eganweni asadade ukuthi unaye emjabuza noma uthi.
Cha, siyabonga kakhulu mayegama impela eMaswati ngicane sekavile ukuthi konke sevele kume ngemumo sekuyavele kube kuhle ngayo impela sonto ebuganweni bakhe. Mayegama lusuku lwakho alube luhle, sachubeka nawe amalungiselelo abo bugano. Kwalo muhle sifike emaphethelweni ehlelo lwethu lo muhla sibonge ukuthi nihleli nathi kude kufike lesikhathi sale kahle.